Oh, is it live? It's finally live. Hi. Welcome and hello. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Space Between. We are live. My name is Michelle Lane, and thanks for being here. What is top of mind today? Today, top of mind is change. Where are all the places in our lives that are requiring change, either in our relationships, in our mindset, in our actions? Where can we really dive in and take a deeper look into our own patterns so we can accept those places that are calling us to change, to be able to dive into the energies of each day and realize that we have a choice in how we want to feel. So this is kind of what's been coming through, top of mind. I made a few notes and then I pulled pulled a card. And I love that it's talking about the land between. It's talking about, learning to be okay while at the threshold of what was and what will be. And I think that's so beautiful for where we are going in 2021. We've already experienced 2020 and all the change and all the chaos and all of the uncertainty and the fear. And then we're leaning into 2021 in an ability to choose what we want next for ourselves. We have more understanding than we did. We have a bigger knowledge base of what we can do within our own self to keep us feeling safe, comforted, healthy. So the question for the rest of this year comes into, what do I want the experience to be for myself moving forward? Am I going to continue to choose the same experience, or will I choose those places in my life where I can take back my power of choice, my power of awareness and truth, and what I truly want to experience versus what I've been maybe ruminating in or looping in or even just done with. And so I love that that card came up because it's all about being in the process of change. Knowing that maybe we didn't decide to be called to it, but it's here. And right, wrong, whatever we're experiencing right now may not be what was. And so it's an opportunity, an invitation for us to let go of the past, release those attachments to the patterns, the fear that we've maybe locked ourselves into, and welcome in more love. And when we look at things from the place of love, where can we allow ourselves to look at things just a little bit more in that loving space than we did? Even though there's chaos present, even though I've been feeling this way, how can I love that just a little bit more to allow myself to lean into the truth of the worry, the procrastination, the frustration, the anger? And where, when I open up that truth, can I look at myself with a new lens and take responsibility into what my truth is in this moment? So maybe this isn't who I was before, and maybe this isn't my normal life. I say that with what is normal. When we can really get to the truth of what am I choosing to experience over and over and over again. And if I don't like it, what am I willing to do to rewire the thoughts to ease that mind chatter around it? There were so many experiences this past week in conversations with others or listening into conversations within family. And we as humans and our mind have the ability to automate so quickly. And without awareness in this knowledge, we fall prey to the mind's ability to create a life of its own. Like it literally jumps in the bus seat, starts driving the bus, and we're in the back pretending like we can't take back control. And I say this in a loving way because I found myself there over and over and over again through this process of transformation. And I continue to find myself there in multiple layers because the mind is super smart, super wicked smart, and it adapts really quickly. So this is an invitation into what have our thoughts been? Where have maybe I not been paying attention to some of the things that are going through my mind? Where are the shoulds, the need tos, and have tos really showing up for me? If I'm willing to pay attention in the language that's happening in my mind and what's coming out of my mouth when I'm talking to others, do I find those words can't, should, need to, have to? And in doing so, can I repattern them into I get to? I woke up today, I'm breathing, the sun's shining, and I get to do these things. And this has been really present for me this last week. My youngest daughter had just received her driver's license. And so this is another phase of life. It's like the caterpillar turning into the butterfly, not only for her and what's possible in life, but for me as a mom whose last youngest baby cherub is leaving the nest soon, growing up into new experiences. It's asked of me, where can I begin to create new change in my life? And we all have phases we're going through. We all have phases we experience. We have things happen to us. We have unfortunate events occur. We have chaotic times. We have these times where the storm feels like it's rising in and we're just stuck in the middle of it. And that is such a beautiful invitation to love every minute of it. Because without the awareness that we're in these spaces, we cannot have the acceptance that we want to move out of them, or that we're accepting that we're in them. And from that place, we get to choose over and over and over again. We get to choose. As humans, we get to choose. We get to be aware of how the mind operates, and we get to interrupt it. We get to choose another experience at any moment. This is why I'm so passionate about self-mastery, emotional intelligence, all of these tools that allow us to get a better sense of who we truly are and let go of the definitions of who we thought we had to be, needed to be, should be, based off of conditioned patterns, these automations of the mind, based off of what we told it because we didn't know any different. What I love about this space and this podcast is we get to open up our awareness and get curious in what else is available, what else could be possible, what else could help us move toward the change and experience more of what we want in life. Where can we harmonize the energies to help us integrate this change? Today we get the chance to welcome in new ideas, to welcome in innovation, to welcome in these beautiful curiosities and receiving and saying yes to ourselves by setting the intention to just be a little bit more mindful in what's happening in that mind chatter. I used to think the mind chatter was the enemy. The body is the enemy. If everything was just perfect, I wouldn't have this problem with feeling this way about myself. And the truth was, I just didn't understand that the body and the mind come together. We pretend, we treat them as separate. We pretend there's not a choice. And when we can merge them together, we make more room for spirit, more of this beautiful energy flow to come through our body. And if we're willing, we can dive into how those energies feel all around us all the time. What is the energy we're putting forth in our environment? What is that biomorphogenic field that we're putting out the energies into? What are we accepting coming into our field? What is someone else's energy doing to affect our field? Where can we make more of an intention to shift what is ours and let what isn't ours go? That's the greatest gift in nurturing ourselves more. When we can nurture ourselves from a mental and an emotional, as well as a physical and energetic space, we get to embrace more of our spirituality, our belief, our faith. We get to dive into that nurturing and being an example of that love, and then having that spill out to others and witnessing the evidence of that coming back. We hear of the law of attraction. There's many laws of the universe. Law of belief. What are we willing to believe about ourselves? What are we willing to believe about our environment and what's possible for us? Law of attraction, what's coming back to us all of the time in our mind? Is it loving, joyful, blissful, wonderful excitement? Or is it negativity and worry and anxiousness and frustration and anger? What are we filling our days with to perpetuate that cycle? Everything's an automated cycle. Do we wake up and present ourselves with time with calmness and centeredness and being with ourselves, contemplating for 5 minutes what we want more of or how we want to feel? Or do we dive into the day in problems and complaining and looking at email and jumping onto news and all the things that don't uplift us? They actually shift our emotional vibration into these lower state emotions. And then we expect ourselves to be in this higher state of feeling. There's a shifting process that takes place. We have to feel it first and honor it and see it and shine a light on it and love that it's here so we can make that next choice. The shadow sides, the darker sides of these feelings, the emotions, these states that brought us here, these conditions, there's gifts in them. There's awareness that can come from them. And it's our choice in that moment to accept where we are and understand that this is just what the mind does. And if this is the filtering system from which we've been seeing our life, there's so much more available, and we can stop beating ourselves up for what we thought we had to before and get to lean into the love and the gratitude and the awareness and the acceptance for where we are now so we can choose where we want to go next. And what's important in that cycle is to not just get stuck in the awareness and the acceptance, the awareness and the acceptance. The very next step is the one that makes us the most uncomfortable oftentimes, the one that makes us run from that next phase, right? It's easier to blame something else or someone else than it is to take a deep breath and understand that we participate as well. Our energy participates in the conversation. Our energy participates in the actions, in the reactions, in the circumstance. Even if our mind doesn't want to see it that way, it doesn't mean it's true. And our mind's great ability to automate and filter, sort, delete, it also creates stories. It makes meaning to everything that we do. It doesn't care if the meaning is true or false. It just makes a meaning. And then we adopt that meaning as a belief, and that belief settles into the cells of our being. We embody those beliefs. And we have the ability to constantly shift, break through, or change beliefs. Some of these beliefs are limiting, which keeps us from what we want. And some of them are empowering, which drives us toward what we desire. There's this beautiful space between where we get to look and shine a light on all of that shadow space and dive into clearing some of the karmic patterns that we've not known to be any different in our experience. Maybe they're generations old, right? And then we get to look at what we want more of. And if we can look at that space, that limitations in between, and know that we can shift them, we can do the work to dive into them. We can apply the tools. We can find the programs, the coaches, the inspiration that leads us to that next action. So once we take the responsibility and then we choose to dive into action, we get the awareness on the complete other side of that spectrum, not the preconceived decision in how we think it's going to go, so why bother trying? We get to actually step into the action, taste the recipe and see if it tastes like we want it to. And then if it does, repeat it. And if it doesn't, pull an ingredient out and try again. But in the spirit of trying again, we're afraid of how we're going to judge ourselves or how others are going to judge us. So it comes back to what change is possible for us when we're willing to lean into that discomfort just a little bit more. The invitation today is in that harmonizing of energy that you're looking for to integrate the change that you desire. What do you believe is possible for you? And are you willing to dare to dream just a little bit bigger outside of the limitation and into the possibility and potential? Will you decide to continue the experience you've been experiencing and take responsibility for that decision? Or are you willing to welcome in a new experience and feel into what the heck is the experience I'd rather have? And allow yourself to transition into that feeling state. So if you find yourself in that mental spinning, a couple of these things may help you. And I'll leave you with this today. What are the thoughts that I'm thinking in these moments? Are they empowering me? Are they disempowering me? Am I ruminating and overthinking? Am I constantly attached to the past events and how they went down? Am I isolating or withdrawing myself because that'll show them? Right? I've been there too. I get it. Do you find yourself complaining to where you're done hearing yourself complaining? These are beautiful moments of change that's possible, where we can dive into what I am thinking. Where am I thinking? Are these thoughts loving? And just bring awareness and bringing some intention to what are the thoughts happening right now? Am I willing to write them down? Am I willing to recognize them? And then I'm willing to shift them into more of a loving thought about myself, about the situation. Can I find love? Even if it's 0.01% more, how can I love it that much more? For the wisdom that it has for me. And are my intentions a loving expression of me right now? Or are they in bitterment? Or are they in resentment? Or are they in revenge? Being willing to look at your own intentions and are they producing a loving expression of yourself? And again, am I willing to fall in love with myself and every thought I think? Am I willing? Am I willing? Am I willing to love it just a little bit more than I did yesterday, than I did a minute ago, than I did before I heard this podcast? Am I willing to love it a little bit more even in lieu of what I've just learned? And when you feel into your body in that space where love lives, you can just breathe in and find it, locate it, feel it pulsating, feel the energy of love. Ask it, what's my next step? It doesn't steer you wrong. The mind can, but the heart won't. But if you invite the mind to come into your heart in that moment, give it a focus and take that inner tension away and give it an intention to find the love, you therefore get to find the evidence that starts to reveal itself from those actions. You're willing to dive into the action, you'll receive the outcomes and the evidence to those experiences, the evidence to the change that's possible. And are you willing to keep asking yourself, what change is possible for me? Where can I love more than fear? And see where that takes you. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your responses. As always, thank you for being here and listening, whether it's morning, noon, or night, wherever you are. I hope you have a fantastic week. Let this topic of change become your focus and intention this week. Where can you rewire your thoughts to ease your mind chatter? Love your life just 0.01% more. Love your mind for being able to show you the wisdom that's available for you. And let me know how it turns out. Have a fantastic week. I'll catch you next time.